Oh man, I feel like such an idiot right now. It's funny, like I get so lost sometimes that I'm like concerned about my mental health in terms of like aging.
Yeah.
It was funny when I was driving my wife to work this morning. We got on the topic of spelling bees. I don't even know how it came up, but hey, that's a hell of a mug you're drinking there. Um,
Right?
but
I don't know if
we'll
you saw. Yeah.
no, yeah, we'll get to that. But yeah, we were talking about spelling bees, and then I brought up this movie about a spelling bee, and it had that guy from Ozark in it, and then I got on this whole like crippling mental pressure of trying to remember what the actor's name was, and I refer to these moments as like my dementia test, where it's like I know for a fact I know exactly what his name is. I mean, big Arrested Development fan. Why
Oh
can't I
God. Now
think of
I'm
his
like
name?
Michael Bluth. What's his fucking
Right,
name?
exactly. You could
Oh,
think of the name of the character, and I couldn't get it, and it was about like 17 minutes until I finally got it. But it's Jason Bateman.
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 Good Lord.
Yes, I know. So we do these like these moments. It happen. I can never predict when these dementia tests are going to come up. Sometimes it's literally like we're crawling into bed, and we're. I think the last time that happened, we were talking about that movie, the cartoon Madagascar, and the name of the lion. And I couldn't think of the name of the lion, and I just laid awake for probably 45 minutes trying to figure it out. And my wife's like, "Just Google it so you can go to bed," and I'm like, "No, because I know it." And
Alex will come to me, dear.
Alex, exactly. It is Alex. But before I got to Alex, I got to Axel. And I'm like, it's close. I'm like, I know it's close. And I went with Axel. And then I was like, no. And then about 5 minutes later, I figured it out. It was Alex. So, anyways, that's the dementia test that I do.
That's so
Um,
funny, man.
I hit record in the middle of that story because I could tell that I was a little bit amped up and feeling good. So let's get right
Perfect.
into the mailbag, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely, buddy. Welcome everybody to the mailbag. It is Tuesday, so we are going to comb through all the comments within the YouTube section and answer any of your DMs on Twitter at Walk Off Podcast, Instagram, the Walk Off Podcast. Lots of interaction this week, actually, so we're looking pretty good here. Let's get into it, buddy.
Yeah, lots to talk about. So right off
That
the
is so
top,
funny. Jason Bateman is one that was bothering me too for like days, and I'm the same way. I'm like, it'll come to me. I'm
yeah,
not
and
Googling
you
this.
know that it's right there, like a quick
Yeah.
quick hop onto your phone, and it's instantly there. But
Yeah.
all right, so let's start with that coffee mug you're drinking. We did get a comment on YouTube. Where can I get a walk off coffee mug? So this is the first time I'm seeing this, Scott. Do we have merch? What's going on here?
My mother-in-law for Christmas got
Oh,
a couple made up for me, but
oh.
we do need merch,
Yeah,
and we
we
should
do.
have the
I know that it's
availability.
something
Yeah.
that's like offered through Patreon and that whatever, and but I know
hmm
we're also kind of lagging on the Patreon, and we got to get that up and running. Um, but I think of all the options for merch, I feel like a coffee mug would be the best fit for us. Like it feels the
Yes.
most us would be a coffee mug. We don't need
Just a
shirts or
couple
hats,
coffee
just a couple of
drinkers.
coffee
Yeah.
mugs, right? So, all right. They got
That's a great plaid sweater you got going on, by the way. That
this
is
is
fantastic.
a birthday present. This is a polar fleece, actually. This
It
is
looks
the
great, buddy.
this is
Yeah.
the Essentials collection by Amazon. So it has zippered pockets on the side, which I appreciate because I can
Yeah.
put my wallet in, and then I can sit in my car or wherever I'm being and not worry about
Yes.
my valuables falling down the crack or whatever
A
the case
less
might be.
a
So,
less essential jacket would not have that side pocket. I'll
no,
tell
I
you
think
that
that's why
right now.
they named it the Essentials collection. It's for all your essentials, keeping them safe. So, anyways, yes, this is my new birthday digs. So, shout out to my wife for that. Um, all right. Well, happy birthday to me. I guess we should address
Yes.
that.
Happy
I know
birthday,
you wished
Adam.
it to me just before I hit record, but
Before you hit
yes,
record.
today is my birthday. So, moving on. I'm 33. Nothing to
Also,
see
while we're
here.
at it, we might as well mention too, both Adam and I, the walk off, visiting Fort McMurray tomorrow at the casino. So if you're up north in Alberta in Fort Mac, come check it out. In
Yeah.
fact, if you even mention the walk off to us, I will buy you a beer. How's that?
Oh, look at that. I like it. All right. So
Now, if there's
this
over a dozen people, we're rescinding that offer.
just just a dozen people driving up from Edmonton for their free beer, and they're gonna ask if they can have one for the road too, because why not? All right. We did get a comment from. This is just kind of fitting on our last video. This is from Joe Maru Joestar, said LOL at that beginning. I believe that was in reference to your doppelganger story that I
Yes,
caught the end of. So
that's right. The better you are at picking out doppelgangers, the more racist you appear. That is my
exactly.
that
Not
is
the more
my
racist that
theory.
you are. I like that. The more racist you appear. So that's a good distinction. Man, I can't stop looking at that coffee mug. You know it's my birthday today. And I know you got a couple of those made,
Yeah,
so
that's
I'll
right,
be
buddy.
seeing you tomorrow. I mean, I don't need a gift wrap or anything, but all right. Next comment here comes from Rocket Master, who commented on episode 3 of Long Toss, who just simply said, best vid.
Nice, short, sweet,
Short,
concise.
sweet, really saved a couple syllables at the end there. I love it.
The algorithm accepting that as a comment. Yes.
Exactly. Whether you type a paragraph with, I mean, sub bulletins in it or just simply best vid, it's all scored the same. So, episode 3 of Long Toss, though, we should shout out, we did on this past Sunday during the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Football Christmas.
Football Christmas. I mean, on the one hand, I don't feel like that episode got enough love. Obviously, we were competing with the Super Bowl, and that's understandable. But
Yes.
I mean, Sean Lacomber is hilarious as always, and he had some really great gems there. And then, of course, we were joined by Lewis, who,
Yes.
I mean, as much as he's a young kid, quite knowledgeable when it comes to baseball. Very like stats and analytics and all that stuff.
We had a couple comments actually on Twitter about Lewis. So, I mean, that is his platform of choice. So
That's
it makes
his
sense. But
foray.
no, very cool.
Yeah, so we'll definitely have Lewis back, and Sean, I'm sure, will make a return at some point as well. But yeah, Long Toss was good. Go check it out if you haven't seen it yet. It was probably one of our funner conversations. I guess we would put it as. We were a very jovial tone. We were all just kind of goofing around
Yeah,
taking it lightly.
Fun.
So
Absolutely.
check
And I'm
it
really
out.
liking this. I'm really liking this format of Long Toss. I know that when you first presented the idea to me, being the old man who doesn't like change, I was like, I don't know about this, but won't we all be talking over each other? But we're kind of finding that like medium where
we're getting there.
it's given all these people a platform to talk baseball on the same type of show. It's really cool, man. I'm really enjoying it. And next week, I'm looking forward to it too. Next week, we got a great week. Yeah.
So, do you want to tease the guests now, or do you want to wait till Friday?
No, let's tease it now. Absolutely. So Long Toss, episode 4 on Sunday, starting at 6 Eastern. We are going to have from the Jays 40-man roster, Zach Loke,
Friend of the show.
friend of the show, and a very likely man to make his MLB debut in 2022. So that's exciting to have Zach Loke joining us. We've got Andrew Stoughton, formerly of the Athletic.
I didn't even realize
now
Stoughton was joining us.
Yes, so Stoughton's joining us from CTV News in Winnipeg. We've got Ainsley McPhail joining us. She's a comedian and a big Jays fan, so that's
very cool.
Will be fun to have her on the show. And then we've got, we're bringing back Joel, right? We're bringing back our
Joel, I'm sure will be there. It's always an open invite for him and Craig both. And then lastly, I don't know if I've told you this or not. We're going to really crowd the round table. We're bringing in the creator of the walk-off logo,
right?
Duncan Ceriso out of Calgary with Team Oh My Apparel. So if anybody is interested in some cool athletic gear, I know he's quite the graphic designer. Obviously made our logo for us and was super patient with us throughout that whole process. I know we kept going back on, well, we don't like this detail or we love this, but it's not quite the right shade that we were looking for. And he revised it about 400 times for us. So anyways,
he did ask us what we wanted, and our response to that was, well, I don't know. So he did a very good job for zero direction. Yes.
He did great. He took 2 non-visions from 2 separate people and made both of us very happy somehow. So anyways, he's going to be on the show, and that's going to be a lot of fun chatting with him. So we do have an interview with him from our early days of the show as well. So yeah, that's enough chat about the Long Toss. We've covered the weird beginnings and the doppelgangers. We've talked coffee mugs. Okay, what do we have left? This one comes in from coincidence. It's a different Duncan, but this comes in from Duncan, who says, I just watched the Nothing Personal podcast with David Sampson. Thanks, Adam, for turning me on to that. By far the best source for daily breakdowns of not lockdown. I think he meant lockout updates. Yeah. He really susses out what matters and what is just public posturing. Very cool. Would recommend to anyone else as well. So, David Sampson, for anybody who doesn't know, is a former MLB executive. I think he was the president of the Marlins and started his career with the Expos. So very knowledgeable when it comes to matters of MLB. And he's got a daily podcast. It's about 45 minutes. So you can find it on anywhere you find podcasts. Nothing Personal with David Sampson. So that's my.
You want to hear something kind of sad, a little bit of a bummer?
Okay.
Not really, right? That's a weird way to
to
preface this, but yeah,
sure.
today pitchers and catchers would supposedly be reporting to spring training.
Today's the day, and instead they're all celebrating my birthday at home. Fair enough. All right. Well, I wish them all a nice slice of cake. All right. Moving on, we've got a comment from Mustard Tiger in Discord, who posted an article from Arden's Welling. The new article is up. Really good article. I don't really want to get into it too deep here, other than to just highlight the article and recommend it as a good read to anybody. But the gist of it was, did you have a look at it yet, Scott?
Yes, I did. Yeah. Okay.
So basically, the title of the article is "The Infield Options the Blue Jays Could Pursue to Become Real Contenders." And then he goes down like the Fangraphs projections of our infield, and I'll just list this off right now. So right now we've got Guerrero slated in for first base, Bo Bichette at shortstop, and then after that it kind of gets ugly with Kevin Biggio at second base, Espinal at third, and Kevin Smith as our utility guy. It's not the infield of a World Series champion. I think we can all agree on that, unless we are banking on a big bounce back from Kevin Biggio and sustained 300 batting average from Santiago Espinal over a full season. But that's a pretty risky ask. So
yes, it is.
In this article, Arden kind of breaks down all of that and the importance of replacing Marcus Semien. He points out that there are 86 extra base hits and a 6.6 WAR that need to be replaced. And then he kind of really goes down kind of all the options that we have, right? From our prospects, Otto Lopez, Jordan Groshans, who's potential call-ups there, and then goes into the free agent options, Chris Bryant, Trevor Story, Jonathan Villar. Really just does kind of a deep dive on some of the better fits and what it would take.
All the usual and the unusual suspects, if you will, that fit
and
positionally.
He really gives a good explanation as to why something might work, even though you might not think it would, and some factors that might influence whether or not that happens. So really interesting read. I thought for anybody who's got 20 minutes in the bathroom at work today, go check it out. All right. Next one we've got from Twitter. This is Young Tim Leeper 420.
Oh, Leeper. Yeah, remember he was Tim Leeper was our the Blue Jays first base coach back in that 2015-16 season.
Gotcha.
Hilarious.
I understand now. I thought you meant this was their actual
No, I
first base
doubt very much this is.
And I'm putting together, the young Tim. It's like gotcha. Like how Lewis is a young Andrew Stoughton. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yes.
All right. So he says, "Hey boys," kind of rude to assume our gender pronouns, but okay.
Yes.
He says, "Hey boys, who do you think is the class clown of the 2022 Blue Jays? Joe Biagini was the guy a few years back, but who's the clown of the clubhouse now?" Remember Joe Biagini with those big old ears of his?
Oh, he was a funny interview, that is for sure. I know that when we had Jamie Campbell on the show, he had a few pretty good tales about Biagini and his oddities while in an interview. That's a really fun question. Who would you pick? Class clown of the 2022 clubhouse.
Class clown of the 2022 clubhouse. Well, who's our candidates? We've got Vladdy's a contender.
I would say so. I would say
Gurriel's
Lourdes
got to
is
be in the
there.
mix, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it's Boba. I think Boba a fun guy, but I don't think he's an instigator.
No.
Kevin Biggio feels like he takes himself pretty seriously. Like he feels like all
George
business.
Springer seems like a fun,
Yeah, George
loose
Springer.
guy.
Um, who else? Teoscar, I feel like is in the category of a Boba, where he'll laugh along, but he's not writing the jokes himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say between Vladdy and Lourdes maybe would be our best.
I think I'm
best
with
bets.
you. I can't really think of anyone off the top of my head who would be more of a goofball than that. It's funny, Biagini was such a unique case, and he doesn't even really fit in with what we're talking about with Vladdy and Lourdes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're goofier, where
Very
Biagini was like literally out there trying to tell jokes. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when Joe. Do you ever see when the high five incident with Joe Biagini? There was like a weird botched high five situation, and he ended up going on Jimmy Fallon because
oh
it was
yes,
such
yes,
a big stupid thing. So,
that's right.
anyways, yeah, yeah. So there you go. I guess our takes would be Vladdy and or Lourdes. All right. So next one here. This is in Discord. So there's the idea of Whit Merrifield being a possible Jays target.
Right.
Unfortunately, as Veracity points out, he would be great, but he's still not a lefty bat. So
It's a good point. I am kind of in the same boat, and I don't mean to eliminate some good fits in areas of need. Like, obviously, if there's a fit that's a righty bat, that's fine. But boy, does this lineup need some lefties in it. And Whit Merrifield does not hit left. He would fit into this lineup nicely. There is a position of need. He plays second base. He is a very good infielder. He's making $2.7 million next year and then $6.5 in 2023. So there might be a reason for the Royals to move him. But that's another thing that doesn't fit all that well with the Royals, is that they are finally starting to see a window of contention coming through this rebuild they've been on for the last 5-6 years. And I'd be very surprised to see them at this point anyway starting to retool, or however you want to put it, and moving some of their top guys. I think Merrifield's a Royal until the end of his contract, or at least until they can take a look at it in 2023 and be like, okay, this isn't a fit. He's going to be a free agent, and then maybe they move him at the trade deadline.
yeah, I don't know.
I know in that talk in Discord where Merrifield was brought up, Mondesi with the Royals was also talked about, and he is a switch hitter and does fit a little bit more. He's been injured, but he's also under contract for another 3 years, I think, with the Royals. Like, he's another guy that doesn't really fit with the timing of when they will, so.
Yeah. Well, one comment here. Hold on.
Beautifully muted.
Beautifully muted sneeze right there. I don't know why I even started that sentence. I felt the sneeze coming before I even started talking, but it wasn't quite ready. And I'm like, well, I can't just have 10 seconds of dead air.
It's the comedian in you. You had to set it up, right?
Had to set it up. It's all timing, right? There was a comment here on YouTube that kind of ties in. This comes from, Cruz Lopez says, Schwarber would be a solid fit in the heart of the Blue Jays order. How do you feel about Kyle Schwarber? Lefty
He's
bat.
a fit, absolutely. That big lefty bat would be nice. He plays left field
Yeah.
at an average to slightly below average level. So the outfield would be too crowded to have him in there in the current roster construction. However, if a Lourdes or Grishik, if they can find a trade partner, moves elsewhere, that would be a nice little addition, I think. I mean, Schwarber's other position he can play is first base, so he's not going to get a lot of time there. Positionally, Schwarber would need to be massaged into the lineup, I think. But offensively at the plate, yeah, I mean, a great fit.
Would be a great fit. Would definitely help bring back some of the offense missing from Marcus Simeon's departure. Oh, that was one thing I did want to say on that Arden Zwelling article, highlighting the Fangraph projections. Vladdy Guerrero Jr. is projected for 43 home runs again.
Nice.
Do you think, what kind of season do you think we're going to get out of Vladdy, production-wise? Is he going to hit 340 home runs again?
I think Vladdy hits 50 for the first time in his career.
You think he hits 50? Oh, I love
think he
that
hits
answer.
50 next year.
I think there's a real shot at that, too. So
yeah. Especially if he is as healthy as he was in 2021, which was an aspect of his game that doesn't get a lot of love and a lot of light shone on it, but he played 161 games, and the one game that he did sit out, he did not want to, and the team was having a blast with him, tying him down on the bench and so on and so forth. So, I mean, this is a guy who plays a full season. It's incredible. So if he can do that again, I truly do believe that he's going to take it one more bump up and hit that 50 and 120 RBIs is my prediction.
let's. I love that prediction.
Unless we lose a bunch of games, in which case, throw it all out the window.
Throw it all out the window. Okay, so Bo Bichette hit 29 home runs last year. Played a full 159, so right up there as well. I think considering he plays shortstop, that's maybe more impressive than 161 out of Vladdy. He's hitting 30 this year, we think, right? No reason to think he'd regress.
I think he could go 30 for 30. I think he could be the first Blue Jay since Sean Green to steal 30 bags and hit 30 bombs.
I love that prediction. Now, here's my last, I guess, part of this little topic. Who is second on the Blue Jays in home runs? If Vladdy's hitting 50, we got Teoscar as a candidate.
I think
we got
Teoscar.
George Springer as a candidate. Yeah. Danny Jansen had a good September. Obviously, Danny Jansen's not a real candidate for that. But who do you think has a bigger year next year? Let's just assume both are healthy, both play 150 games. Teoscar or George Springer? Obviously, Springer has a bigger contract, right? He's paid to be the bigger guy, but would it shock you if Teoscar outperformed George Springer statistically?
So if I was going to put money on it, I would bet on Teoscar. But in the scenario that you're giving, where they both play 150 games, I would take Springer. So okay. I'm betting on Teoscar only because I truly think Springer is much more likely to play 120 to 130 games next year.
Okay.
Whereas I think Teoscar, just if you look at his track record with injuries, is normally a fairly healthy candidate. So I think it's far more likely Teoscar plays 150 games, and for that reason, I would bet that his
season
power
totals
numbers are higher. Yeah.
Okay. No, that's a very responsible answer. All right, last one here. Kind of a fun comment from our Discord. So this comes from that Blue Jays fan. Brought up the idea of the walk-off fantasy league. And within minutes, there was about a dozen people who all piped up and said they'd be interested. So,
which is very cool. In fact, we had a lot of response on that. And Adam and I are all for it. So, number one, if you have yet to join our Discord, it is free. There's a link in the show notes. Feel free to jump on board. It's a fun place to hang out. And if you're one of those baseball fanatics that just is losing their mind in this lockout right now. It's almost like therapy, like it's a nice place to go and get that little shot you need.
Yep.
A booster shot, if you will, of baseball until we can all get back to normal. So that's nice. And then on top of it, too, a lot of our Discord is where we get our as questions, you can tell, our mailbag comments and stuff like that.
So yeah, you can drop your comments in there, or you can DM Scott or I directly as well. That's a good way to make sure that we don't miss any of your good comments and questions for our guests.
As for Fantasy League, we've talked about it last year. I think Adam and I are completely into this. We are going to throw it out there right now. Neither of us really wish to be the commissioner in this league. So if you are already in Discord and you're listening to this, feel free to take the reins if you would like and just drop us a DM and be like, hey, I'll be the commissioner. And we can get this thing, the ball rolling, if you will. If not, we could do something similar to what we did last year, which is... we could go to ESPN or something like that and just all join the same sort of thing, which isn't quite as interactive and fun. But I know both you and I did that last year and wound up, by end of April, we weren't even paying attention.
Well, yeah. Okay, so I think we did Sportsnet last year. And that was like a pick your players for the week and you have a budget and whatever, right? But everybody was able to pick the same guys. So you're able to look at, well, who's their matchups, and there's some strategy involved. But my big problem with that was that picking your roster there was a very small window where you could do it. So I think rosters for the week locked at like Sunday night. But if you logged in on Friday and were like, well, I'm going to be busy this weekend, but I want to make sure I get my picks in, that wasn't an option yet. Right. So that happened to me, I think, around the third week, where I logged in on Friday to make my picks, couldn't do it yet. And then by the time I checked back in again, I had missed the lockout, and I was like, well, this is dumb. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, fantasy leagues are way better when you're doing head-to-head matchups. Each week, and there's wins and losses. But one downside,
so that'll be the goal.
One downside is it depends on our numbers, right? Like if we have 40 people who are like, hey, we all want to participate, then maybe we just have to do a pool and figure out a website to do it with, and then maybe we can come up with a prize or something for whoever has the best. I don't think we wish to spend a lot of time talking fantasy baseball during the podcast, but I mean, we might touch in from time to time and rib each other depending on how one of us is performing or whatever. But anyways, let us know in the comments or wherever you want to let us know how you feel about a fantasy league and whether you're interested and whatever, and we'll go from there. So all right, that's about it for the mailbag, unless you have anything else.
No, I just wanted to quickly tease that we are going to get some of these really great interviews that we've got in the bag out right away. Spencer Horowitz, we sat down with him. Of course, he's an outside chance to actually make his MLB debut in 2022. He's a big lefty bat. Doesn't hit for a ton of power, but he's got some pop. But this is a guy who had a 27 game hit streak, breaking the all-time record in the High A League last year. He absolutely ripped the Arizona Fall League apart. He is positionally a first baseman, but getting more and more reps out in the outfield. He is trying to become more positionally versatile and would fit really nicely into this Blue Jays lineup.
If you are a first baseman prospect in the Blue Jays organization, you want to find some
field reps, baby.
That position might be locked up for the next 18 years. So,
we talked with former Blue Jay Mark Zebchinski. We'll get that out shortly. He, of course, won a World Series with the St. Louis Cardinals. We talked with the head of the mental performance with the Blue Jays, Robert DiBernardo. He was a fantastic interview and just a really...
That was such a good one.
Man, such a good insight into the way these young men think and just the psychology behind that end of the game. And then, as if that's not enough, we also sat down and chatted with...
Kyle Johnston.
Thank you.
I was just chatting with him yesterday. He was nagging at me. He's like, hey, man, just wondering when that interview is going to go up. So
yes,
I was like, yeah, right away. So his might be the first. His might be the first one everybody gets to see because I'm sure
Squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Exactly.
Yes.
He's excited to share with his friends and family. So very cool. Yeah, lots of stuff to be excited about. I know I'm almost done editing our Mr. Baseball episode for the Patreon. That'll be up by the end of the week. And then I think early next week, because we got behind with the January schedule for that. But early next week, we are going to watch Major League. One of the all-time greats, and talk about that for the next, I guess, for February's edition of the Patreon episodes. So lots going on. I'm swamped. You're Scott. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thanks everybody for listening. Have a great day. And again, if you're in Fort McMurray and want to come to a show and watch the Walk Off perform comedy, the casino tomorrow night, 8 p.m.